Alrighty.
Jennifer, would you go ahead and take a roll call, please?
I sure can. It's 5:02. President Havley,
Present?
Vice President Spikers,
Here.
Secretary Carter,
Here.
Commissioner Norris,
Here.
Commissioner Herron,
Here.
CEO Jensen,
I'm present.
Present.
CFO Ritter,
Here.
CMO Storm,
Here. Thank you.
CSO Moore,
Present.
General Counsel Hauser.
Here. Good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Actually, I skipped
Yeah.
our newest CNE, Trisha Ralston.
Hello, everyone
Mhm.
here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have quite a few directors, managers from SVH, and there's a few other people joining us today. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Jen, we can do introductions when we get to that part of the agenda.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay.
Back to you,
Right.
Mr. President.
Okay. Go ahead and call the meeting to order then. Thank you for the roll call, Jennifer. I'll go into the approval of the board meeting agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the board meeting agenda?
I move that we approve the board meeting agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner Herron. Do I have a second?
I'll second
that.
Each
Go
to
ahead.
it, yeah, I believe.
Okay. Thank you very much. Go ahead and call for the question. All those in favor of the approval, motion's been made and seconded for approval of the board meeting agenda. Please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, abstaining. And is Commissioner Carter with us yet?
Yes,
She
I'm
is.
here.
Yes.
Okay,
There she
very good.
is.
Thank you kindly. So please let the record show that Commissioner Carter is here, and thank you. And next, moving on to public comment. Want to give the opportunity for the public to make any comments, ask any questions they might have. Please limit them to 3 minutes. Is there anybody here in the public that would like to make a comment? Asking again, is there anyone in the public that would care to make a comment this evening? And final time, hearing none, anybody care to make a comment? Okay, moving along, going to move on to the consent agenda. This was discussed during the executive session in January. Looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner Herron. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Carter. Call for the question. All those in favor of the approval of the consent agenda, motion's been made and seconded. Please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, abstaining, motion carries. Thank you very much, everybody. Move on to commissioner business. Renee, I'll turn the floor over to you.
Yeah, actually, Patrick's going to introduce the state auditors team.
Oh, yeah.
Or if the team lead would like to introduce your team, you're welcome to do that.
Sure, I can do that. Thank you. So my name is Haji Adams. I'm the audit manager, and joining me today is Carmen Law.
Haji,
who's the
is
audit
it
lead.
possible for you to turn up your volume? You are really quiet.
Okay, let me.
It's a little better.
Oh, is that a little bit better?
That's
Yeah.
better.
That's way better.
Okay.
It is.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. All right. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So my name is Haji Adams. I'm the audit manager, and then joining me today is Carmen Law, who's the audit lead, and then Zach Shelton as well, who's the audit supervisor on the audit.
Very good. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Haji, you're welcome to go ahead. I know this is the entrance conference for the commissioners.
Yes.
You're welcome to go ahead.
Okay, and then we were told that you'd be able to present our slides for us here as well. I believe Shauna was able to get you some slides.
Yeah,
there we go.
can you
That
see
looks.
them?
There we go.
Yep.
Yep, looks good. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. So we just did our introductions. So you may go on to the next slide. All right, so the presentation today is going to be a summary of the audit scope, and to supplement that presentation as well, we have provided a packet of information for you all, and that includes the insurance conference agenda and the handouts as well for today. And the Washington State Auditor's Office, so we're tasked with being the auditor of all public funds. So we're responsible for auditing all state and local governments. We conduct over 2,700 audits each year. So on this slide, you'll see here the different types of audits that we actually conduct, with accountability, financial, and federal audits representing those that we conduct the most. And then we plan to conduct an accountability audit of the district. So the purpose of that accountability audit is to determine whether the district's complied with state laws, rules, regulations, your own policies and procedures as well. Then also we'll look at whether the district's has adequate procedures in place as well to ensure public funds are properly safeguarded. And then with that, I'll hand it over to Carmen to go over the audit scope.
Where's Carmen?
Hi.
Hey.
All right, you can go to the next slide.
There we go.
Yeah, so we are conducting the accountability audit, as Haji mentioned, and we will be looking at 3 years. So from January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2023. We are using a risk-based audit approach for the district, and we are looking at the following areas. So the first area is self-insurance, specifically the health and welfare portion. We will gain an understanding of the program and determine if the district has enough funds to self-insure the health and welfare program. We'll also be looking at payroll, specifically bonus and incentive payments, and elected official compensation, where we'll gain an understanding of controls for these pay types, and we'll select some transactions for testing. Next, we have the accounts receivable collections, where we will look at outstanding balances owed to the district, specifically patient collections, and we'll also gain an understanding of these collections and the processes, including the third-party administrator that you guys use. We also are looking at the open public meetings, so compliance with minutes, meetings, and executive session requirements, and the financial condition we're reviewing for indications of financial distress. Next slide, please. We also are reviewing related audit work. We conducted a review of the independent CPA firm audit. So our office evaluates contracted CPA firms' qualification and audit works to determine whether we accept their financial or federal audits of local governments in place of audits performed by SAO. We reviewed it for all 3 years, and all 3 years had a financial audit, and in 2022 we also reviewed the federal audit as that was applicable in 2022. Next slide. So there are several ways that our office stays connected throughout the audit, where it starts with the pre-audit meeting and where you're now at the entrance. It goes all the way to the end of our exit conference, where we meet back again at the end of the audit to discuss the results of our audit. Next slide, please. I think there was a slide right before this one. Oh, maybe not. Okay. I think there's a missing slide, but I could talk about it still. So we have 3 levels of reporting. Our office uses these levels as ways to identify the significance of the audit issues identified. So our highest level is a finding, which is the most significant level of audit recommendations that can be issued. Audit findings are the only level of reporting included in its entirety in our audit report. And with a finding, the district will be able to respond to the finding, and this will also be published in our report. We also have a management letter. This was less significant than a finding, but still important enough that we want to bring the attention to the governing body and management in a formal letter. Management letters are not published in their entirety in our audit reports, but they are referenced. And finally, we have exit items, which constitute as our lowest level of written recommendations. Exit items are very normal in the audit process and often likely housekeeping items that address best practice items or minor non-compliances. And I will pass it to Zach for important information.
Perfect. Thanks, Carmen. So we wanted to remind you of a few important things. And if you want to open that back up, we can go through one by one. Perfect. Great. So firstly, our office does remain committed to protecting and safe handling of your confidential data. And so we recognize that the audit may have a need to review information like employee payroll records and other important information. And so when this occurs, we have an SAO share set up. I'm sure that a few of you have probably received that link already. But if there is sensitive data or if there is extra protections that you are aware of, please let us know because we have a number of different mechanisms that we have used for that. And if you have any questions over the protocols of that, please feel free to reach out. Secondly, we've also shared an estimate of audit costs that's in your packet. And so this estimate is on track with previous estimates and has been already approved through our engagement letter. Next, the third thing is audit dispute process. And so if there are any concerns at all about the audit process, please know we have an established process for that to hear your concerns. And so our audit dispute process is designed to provide you with access to progressive levels of management within our organizations to hear that. So we've encouraged you to start with your local audit manager, who is Haji. He's here with us today, and that information is included in your packet for his contact, but also additional representatives have also been included all the way up to our state auditor, should they be needed. And then lastly, we always like to remind our governments about loss reporting requirements. So should you become aware of any known or suspected instances of public funds, please note that state law does require that you immediately file a notification with our office. So this process is easy to perform, and you can file a notification directly from our website if the need were to occur. So then moving on to the next slide about reporting cybersecurity issues. State and local government may also be required to report cybersecurity issues, including security breaches and cyber fraud. So reporting to the Attorney General's office may be necessary if a single incident affects more than 500 Washington residents. And then specifically reporting to our office, the state auditor's office, that also may be necessary if the event involves financial records or finances. So the requirement to report to our office is not necessarily dictated by number of affected parties or whether you actually experienced a financial loss, but more if it affected the financial records or finances. And so if that were to occur, state or local government should alert us of suspected notifications, and that can also be made through our website. And then moving forward to the next slide here, we talk about peer reviews of the Washington State Auditor's Office. So one question we often receive is, who audits the state auditor? So it's only fitting that since we conduct audits as an organization, that we also should undergo one ourselves. So our office receives an external peer review once every 3 years by the National State Auditors Association, and that satisfies government auditing standards. And so we have the link provided there where you can access the most recent peer review. And please note that the last rating we received was a pass. That may seem a little underwhelming, but that actually is the highest level of assurance that the review can provide. And then a few more slides. The next one, we wanted to talk really quickly. Beyond the regularly scheduled audit that you have, we have some support services available at no additional cost to you year-round. So first is our local government support team. That's available to assist with annual filing, reporting, accounting services, one-on-one technical assistance, and various resources that are available on our website, as well as a client help desk. The local government support team strives to ensure our local governments are prepared to meet their annual filing and reporting requirements. And they also offer several trainings around the state and also virtually each year to keep you updated on the latest accounting and reporting topics. And then in addition, the Center of Government Innovation is also another great resource for the local governments. So the center provides free resources and services to help local governments throughout Washington work better, solve problems, and improve operations. So this team of specialists is available through phone, online, or in person to offer assistance at no additional cost. And then the next slide talks a little bit more about the center and the things that they offer. So in addition to the resource library, the center also offers free services that can help your government solve problems and improve operations, like I said. The first thing they offer is cyber checkups. So that's a free and fast independent assessment of your development's vulnerability to common threats, along with actionable steps you can take to improve your overall cyber health. We also offer lien services, where the center's lean specialists can help your government optimize efficiency, quality, and customer service, team building and leadership workshops, and then also the financial intelligence tool. That's the FIT tool that you'll find the data you need to help your government make better business decisions and improve its financial position. And then the last slide I wanted to cover, if you'll go into that one, talks about fraud prevention. This is a new resource that we have for elected officials and appointed board members. So our special investigations team created this guide to help in preventing employee fraud in the government. So it's broken down into 3 sections: preventing fraud, detecting fraud, and responding to fraud. So the first section is tips to consider when designing your government's fraud prevention framework. The second offers tips for improving your fraud detection abilities. And then the third offers guidance on how to respond to employee fraud in your government. All right, and with that, if we want to move into the next one, we just wanted to thank you for the opportunity of us meeting, and we also wanted to open up the floor for any questions or comments that you may have at this time.
I had a question. Thank you for the presentation. I've had these audits before, and I don't think I've ever had the opportunity to have all of these resources presented to us. I didn't know we had all those resources. Patrick, did you?
Not the Center for Government, what was it? Innovation. I did not know about the innovation one.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
good to
nor did
know.
I, David. I have sat in on many of these as well and had not, don't recall that as well. So thank you.
Okay.
Yep. But anyway, I just wanted to say thank you again for if you're concluded with your presentation.
Yes.
Okay,
we
I
have.
just want to say thank you, obviously, for the Washington State Auditor's Office, and we have, is it Haji, Adams, Carmen Law? Is that right? And then Zachariah, is that right? Thank you all for coming this evening. I appreciate all your time and all that you do to help keep the finances in order around the state.
And Haji Carmen's been great to work with, so thank you.
Great to hear.
Very
Great to hear. Yeah, and I just want to say thank you again. And of course, we look forward to working with the district on this engagement, and definitely look forward to presenting the audit results at the exit conference as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yep,
Bye.
have a good rest of your evening.
You
Yep.
too. Bye-bye.
Okay, I'll go ahead and move now into our introduction for Mr. Keith Clevin and Brad Berg regarding our
Actually,
revenue bond resolution.
Give them the night off.
What did you say?
I said we gave them the night off.
No
so they
way.
didn't have to attend the meeting.
I was
But-
really
Oh.
inspired to hear what they had to say.
The burden will fall to you and David. Actually, all we're doing is presenting, and Jenna, if you could grab that resolution. This is the draft resolution that Finance Committee took a look at this week, or this past week. And we just wanted to present it to the full board, and in anticipation that we'll be moving forward with this resolution. And we want to make sure if there's any questions, we've got those now, or if there's any concerns, we care about them, but this is basically the parameters that we will be setting, or the board will be setting for Patrick and I to work with Keith and Brad on securing the second round of financing for the hub project.
David, is there anything that you wanted to speak to with regards to this?
Yeah, it's pretty standard, bond motion here. There isn't a whole lot. It just, I believe that we're not going to be exceeding 110 million. And that's, I think, the parameters that the board was thinking of.
I believe that-
However, there's
might be
been
correct,
some,
Dave. Yeah.
Okay,
there's been
guys.
some issues recently with obtaining permits, and the costs have gone up. So I guess my question is, because I need to understand, are we still within these limits of 110 million that we're looking at?
I think it's really, it depends on if you're above the line or below the line, and which of that is the actual construction cost versus financing costs. And so I believe that within the actual construction costs, we're well within that. It's the soft costs and some of the issuing costs that may exceed that. And we're still, until it goes out to bid and we get hard numbers, we're
Yeah.
not going to have that
Yeah.
available.
Right.
Yeah, we have the carrying costs and the issuance costs that is not, included in the overall. And as Renee said, the construction costs themselves are underneath that. It's the the revenue bonds. As you know, we'll need to hold the interest over for 2 years before we make payments while we're under construction, because we won't, have those services available yet. So that is a chunk of it that is above that number right now. But they're soft numbers that are changing. So once we get the GMP, we will know better at what those numbers actually are going to be.
Thank you, Patrick. And for the rest of the board, timeline for the expectation at this moment of those numbers?
Yeah, so you'll have some rough numbers next month filled in to this resolution, so you can get your an idea about what the possible resolution amounts will be, and then pass the number once we get the final numbers at Finance Committee in April. And so then we'll have the final numbers in the resolution for vote for the board in April. And then the timeline is to then get the GMP, the final GMP piece for May. And then we will go to bond and hopefully bond in May. And then we would receive the funds in June, and they should hit the bank around June 16th for that amount. Mm-hmm. So the first, you will be approving an amount not to exceed, like it says on here, and we will have those GMP numbers forthcoming.
And just for the rest of the board that might not recall the acronym GMP.
Yeah, I was wondering. I didn't.
Guaranteed maximum price.
Guaranteed maximum price.
Yep.
Oh my.
So
thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Patrick. The other thing that was discussed in some detail in the finance meeting was, I always look at the worst case scenario, and you have to if you're going to be doing due diligence on any project. So one of the things we talked about was, what if, the federal government is slashing their budgets, okay? Yeah. So what if our critical access status went away? And I know that when we built our first hospital, the first building, that was a huge concern, because they were talking about reducing the number or increasing the number of miles from any major hospital. Yeah. And so we went into some detail, and I think Kevin was talking with some legislators and everything, and they had indicated to us that it would be a phase in if they did something like that for 3 years. And although I don't have any exact figures if this were to happen, mm-hmm. my understanding is that we would probably be just fine. We would be increasing revenue so much from outpatient care. That's the general thought process. But one of the things I thought, well, maybe we could do a little bit better estimating when we look at that as the worst case scenario. I guess if you don't look at it, then you're not prepared. And I don't expect to have, specific figures, at all. I'd like to know, we're not going to make in 27 million in year 7 or 6 or whatever, but maybe we'll make in, 5 million or 10 million. I don't know. And I guess that's the one thought I wanted to bring up about to the board and just get them thinking, and maybe we could discuss this in some detail. We could get some more information on that. But that's certainly a concern I have, especially with all of the budgets that are being slashed right now. So,
yeah. And just to take off on what David just spoke about, we're always looking at, we try to plan and forecast our revenue stream on the incoming side, I would say in a conservative posture. And we anticipate the worst case scenario in the expense column, so that we are in the best of circumstances, in the worst of circumstances, we're in the best possible position with today's current information, which we update on an ongoing basis through this process, and we'll continue to do so that we are prepared and we've anticipated the unlikely occurrence should it happen. So we're best prepared for it. So thank you, Dave.
Yeah, I just to add on to that, we went through the COVID crisis. And a lot of hospitals really were a lot worse shape than us. And we were able to negotiate a lot of A lot of issues, come up with money, come up with out of the box thought process to keep the hospital not only going, but actually profitable. So just think about that. And I look at the past experience that we've already underwent on a severe crisis. It should be no problem, right?
Right.
David,
Yep.
do we have any bonds that's about to retire for the year 2025?
I think it's, yeah, we do. Later
I think we have
at the end of
two
the
of
year.
Patrick can,
right?
Patrick can speak to that.
Yeah, so Emma, how it will work, we do, so this hospital, the first building that's built, as you know, those bonds go through 2040, but they are what's called callable this year in 2025, which means that we are able to refinance them if it is in our favor to do that. So September would be the first that we would be able to do that. So we would not be able to probably pay for the construction costs through the summer if we didn't go out in May. It would be really tight and really close, especially with, as David just brought up, what they're doing with some of the federal funds that we've relied upon in our budget that are paused onto. It's not, also, as he said, we can weather it, but it would be very, very tight and could put some things at risk if we did that. So we are planning to go in May. Now this is all based on the market, right? If the market is good in May, we'll go in May. If it's not, we will probably have to wait, and then we could possibly take advantage of the refinance or the calling of the revenue bonds there. Either way, we'll save some interest on it. We just wouldn't save on some of the issuance costs going out a second time for that. But they shouldn't be major. And Renee and I are negotiating with Piper on that, and we've made headroads in those areas before, as you know, to bring their issuance costs down. So I feel confident that Renee and I would be able to do that. So it is, if the world lined up, exactly that, those would have been callable in May instead of September, but that's not how it's working.
And it wouldn't.
Okay, so what is the principle? There are two principles that are the bond in December 1st.
Yeah, the principal amount would not change, Emma, from that outstanding, other than what we've paid for the past 10 years, right? That principal has gone down every year for that it's gone down about $13 million or so since those are issued. So that principal amount of $48 million that was there is now 35, right? So that would be the amount that we would be refinancing.
And what about the LTGO bonds?
Those are, we just did those, as you remember, in December. So that is included in the overall total price of the construction process that we have there, that 17 million.
Yeah.
And that was at a low interest rate too.
It was.
It was a good interest rate.
Yeah. Good question.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I wanted to jump in, Kevin, and clarify for those that didn't have been at the finance committee meeting or those that might be on and wondering. The hub is an ambulatory center and it is not a cost-based pro forma. So the services that are being provided in the hub generate revenue that are not dependent on our cost-based status. And so the pro forma, we have some depreciation that we can write off, but we will do that early. And so that would be within the first year. And so we wouldn't necessarily, even if the critical access hospital status was taken away, it's not going to impact the current pro forma. So it would impact our current operations, but not the hub pro forma itself. And so I just want to be really clear and make sure that's understood.
Good. Thank you, Renee.
Well, the follow-up, well, we had to be within 200 yards or something like 200 feet. The hub has to be
250 yards, David.
Yeah, so
250. Yeah.
What was the reason behind that then, to be able to get?
Well, that's so we can bill facility charges, but which, as you remember, that's that 20%, basically about 20% of revenue that's additional right now. But we would still be able to do that even under a non-cost-based reimbursement rate, because a hospital outpatient doesn't fall under the cost status. That falls under the CMS rules in general. So even PPS hospitals have hospital outpatient services that are within those ranges, and they charge those facility fees for.
Thanks for clarifying that, because I think maybe some other people might have had the same question.
Where it would hit us is, as Renee said, would be upstairs on the the swing bed side of things, and that cost-based reimbursement there. But since we are adding, the whole purpose that we are expanding outpatient services is so that we can insulate that and prepare for, in an ideal world, as I was telling other people, is we make the decision not to be a CAW anymore because we've expanded services and need more than 25 beds, right? That's when we make that decision. But we are prepping, as Kevin said, for worst case scenario, that we expand our outpatient services so that we could weather that if that's fraught upon us instead of our choice. So that's the best of both worlds.
Good conversation. Very good.
Absolutely.
So
Thanks for the explanation, Patrick.
We're doing our due diligence with the board and giving you plenty of time to review the documents. The one that Jen showed you is just a summary document. There are multiple pages behind that. I encourage you to read them. If you have any questions, let us know. You'll see these a couple more times before we're ready to vote on them. And the finance committee will be updated by Keith and Brad in between. So I just want to lay out the timeline and the plan for you so you could all be aware and prepared.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Do we still have US Bank as the trustee?
Yeah, US Bank is still the trustee. Yep.
Okay. Renee, anything else on the bond item?
Nope, we're good.
That closes it out. Very good. With that, I'll go ahead and turn the floor over to Dr. Moore and regarding the DEI update. Welcome.
Yeah, so I'll give a quick intro, Tammy, and then I'll hand it to you. Perfect. So previously, Commissioner Herron had asked for us to do some education for the board on what does Snoqualmie, like this DEI thing is huge and big and everybody's talking about it and what are we doing with it? And we do a lot with this in a lot of different ways. And right now, keeping up with the movement around this is about like keeping up with the Trump administration. It changes hourly. And so she's prepared to share a little bit about what we are doing and how we are fitting this into our culture and how we support our staff and our community. And I thought you guys would be of interest in hearing more about this great program that Dr. Moore is leading. All right, Tammy, it's on you. Yeah.
Perfect lead in. I appreciate that. Good evening, commissioners. Good to see you again. As it turns out, it's only been a couple of hours, but happy to see you all. So as I was thinking about reviewing with you our program, I thought just how serendipitous it is to consider our mission. So as you know, Renee and team redid our mission, our vision, our values. And if you consider our mission statement, it is to empower individuals to live boldly, offering innovative, accessible healthcare that prioritizes wellness, fosters community, and fuels adventure. And yes, I don't have it memorized quite yet. I had to read it off the screen. So you'll have to forgive me for that. Next time I'll have it memorized. But it really encompasses and I think embraces what we're trying to accomplish with what is DEI. So many months ago, the steering committee that was put together, Renee asked us to lead this effort and to consider what is it to be a good SVH citizen. And we really got a chance to analyze and look at something that encompasses even more broadly what it is to create an environment where everyone is welcome to not only work, to live in our community, but also to serve our patient population. As a public hospital district, as you know, we serve everyone. That is our honor, our privilege, and our responsibility. So as we consider what is our effort, we are dovetailing it and wrapping it under what is called SVH Cares. And that is a program designed to acknowledge our differences, to lead with empathy and compassion, to embrace the fact that we don't all come from the very same background or lens or perspective, but that with humility, we can learn from one another. Part of our efforts have been and have included working on education to our community. And so as part of that, Nicole Pass and Anna Wright have both worked on a calendar of events and acknowledgements. If you look at our socials and if you receive our newsletter, which I hope you're all reading and enjoying, you will note that every month we take a different topic. Maybe it is going to be for February, for instance, Black History Month. Anna has done the work with Nicole to create an article and interest around that topic. And it has been just such a fun thing to read and gain perspective on and to learn from. They've done that throughout the year. We will be continuing to post that for each month that goes by. And it allows also our own community, our employees, to celebrate what is important to them, what they may want to learn more about, what they want to know more about. And it allows us to also demonstrate this to our community at large. So our efforts with the calendar will continue throughout 2025. We remain as a steering committee available for questions that come up, thoughts that come up about events or participation in those events, and we look forward to serving in that capacity. So as simple as it sounds, it is, I assure you, embedded in the efforts around our mission, vision, and values, and the work that we do every day. And that is, I'll just share personally, part of the reason why I've always worked for a public hospital district. It is the essence of what we do, is to take care of everyone and to embrace them for their uniqueness. So I'll pause there, take a breath, and see if there's any questions or thoughts.
I do have a question, and I guess during that fund, while we are at Capital Campaign and reaching out to those potential future donors to help us,
Yep.
How important is it to have the pronouns next to your name? Whereas the business practices in general, when we talk about individuals, we should respect each other of how we could tailor this specific request without, maybe some might be offended by adding a title, another pronoun in your name. Why not say, for example, Emma Heron, Board Commissioners of Snoqualmie Valley Hospital. How important is it for me if I'm being asked to put this he or she, her as a pronoun? I feel I might be disrespecting the person, and I don't want to offend somebody if I'm reaching out and asking this person to donate for us. So knowing that sensitivities of others, it's very difficult to have that title next to my name.
Emma, I appreciate you asking this question. We actually, yeah, thank you. I'd be happy to answer that. We actually did quite a bit of training and education with our staff around pronouns. That is one of the kind of DEI initiatives that we've done. And the idea behind pronouns is that this is a choice. This also came out of a request from our very own staff who wanted us to have pronouns available on our badges and our signature lines. And so we have adopted a culture here under SVH Cares that we allow any employee that would choose or like to have their pronouns on their badge or in their signature line to do so as it fits them best. And so it's not a requirement and you don't have to do it, but if you would like to, you can. Or if you want and you choose to show your support and the fact that you are open to that for others, and you can also include it for that purpose as well. But definitely no requirement.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's fine if that's the choice of that person. My concern is, well, I guess if that person doesn't mind giving money regardless of what, but it's not your typical business practice, in many organizations. And so it could be misconstrued of we're pushing or, trying to push my agenda, which would not look very good if I am here reaching out, please help us. And instead, I think I should be respecting their sensitivities as well. So as individuals, we have a choice. But again, it's a tough, balancing act. And so, like you said, that's person's choice of whatever it is that, yeah. But I just
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
make sure I'm clear because, I have a difficulty if I will be reaching out and they're going to come to me and say, I am, and knowing that that particular individual may be not welcoming, or I don't know, it's just, I have to tread it very lightly if I want that person to be, on our side. And I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh,
Emma,
okay,
these can be
it's just
very
challenging.
difficult.
Challenging
These
to
can be
me.
very difficult and sensitive subjects. And you can see how this could be very challenging for a large organization of ours to be able to be respectful on both sides of those equations. So that is much of the work that Dr. Moore is leading. And a lot of those sensitivities and respectfulness that we're ingraining in our culture and our SVH Cares program. So I appreciate you bringing that up. Does anybody else have any other questions for Dr. Moore? If we haven't already sent you the calendar that we use, Tammy, maybe we could send that out to the commissioners. Nicole and Anna put a lot of work into that. And you can see how there is quite a bit of inclusion and diversity into that calendar. And it's exciting to be able to have those celebrations with our staff.
Dr. Moore, was there additional information that you had for us?
I really wanted to serve as a resource for questions that you might have. And I appreciate Commissioner Herron's comments or question about how we are proceeding. So if there's anything else that you have, I'm happy to answer.
I don't. How about the rest of the board?
I've got a question, Dr. Moore.
Jen?
In
Mr.
fact,
Carter.
I was asked by an employee of the hospital that, because we receive Medicaid payments and because we're a public hospital, do they have to respond to the directives about DEI coming from the White House right now? Back to pronouns, specifically things like removing pronouns. I said, no, you don't. You keep your pronouns. I want to make sure that that was correct. And I also want to know if we are sending out any reaffirming messages that we are going to continue with Palmy Valley Cares or.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Carter. I'll hop in on that and then I'll have, I hand it over to Renee. So really well timed question. So yes, you're right. Our plan right now, and Renee spoke to this a little while ago, is we will respond as needed to anything that's happening nationally and with the state, and resting assured that your executive team is plugged into all of that. For right now, we're going to continue. It is every person's right to use what pronoun they like. Just it is to choose, whatever last name they would like to go with. So that is up to them. So we will not mandate or dictate any changes at this time. As far as communication, Renee sent out an exceptional written email just regarding this. So Renee, can I hand it to you to speak to that?
Yeah, actually, we sent it out to all staff today, and it might be even in your commissioner email. So take a look in there. Basically, it's just guiding our staff that we are business as usual. We do not have any mandates or directives at this time in these particular areas. There's a lot of speculation about what may or may not occur. And also to addressing concerns that we've heard from our staff about immigration officers and the fact that they're concerned, like what happens if immigration officers come to the hospital? How do we respond? What do we do? What does that mean to us? What does that mean to our patients? And so giving them some guidance to make sure that they contact the administrator on call. That would be one of the 5 executive team members, and that anybody that comes to our building is only allowed in public areas, and they aren't allowed to go in any patient care areas or any secure areas unless they are invited or welcomed by a staff member. And so we sent that communication out today, and it was well received.
Very much. Great questions, Commissioner Carter. Thank you.
Any others? We will continue to keep the board abreast of any changes that we come across or any mandates that we have to comply with. We'll let you know.
Good. Thank you, Dr. Moore.
Thank you.
Renee, and all the good questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
With that, I'll move into the next item on the agenda is Resolution 711-0225 regarding surplus equipment.
Yep, so this is your standard surplus equipment resolution. You've got some IT things on there, and normally we don't do much with these, but I have to take a moment to say there's a very exciting thing happening. We are giving you our recliners, which are our patient recliners, our patient rooms on the surplus list. because we will be purchasing new ones. And this is something that both our nurses and our rehab team have been asking for. And we are able to fit that into the capital budget right now in this cycle. And so I think everybody will be celebrating to have these new recliners that are not only more comfortable, but it's more safe for our patients and our staff.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I've heard about that by some of the public at the grocery store. So thank you. Okay, with that, call for a vote. Can I have a motion to approve the resolution 7110225 surplus equipment?
I make that motion.
Thank you very much.
I
Mr.
second.
Spikers, can I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Herron. I'll call for the question. All's in favor of the motion to approve, that's been made and seconded, to approve resolution 711-0225 surplus equipment, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you, everybody. Renee, you have the floor.
Great, thank you. I've got some great, exciting things to share with you in my CEO report tonight. As always, if you have questions, please interrupt and stop me, and we'll jump right in. So under foundational elements, hot off the press, between the time I saw you earlier for your work session and today, we have received permits that were issued by the city of North Bend for our North Bend clinic, as well as we've finalized or have reached agreement on the lease. And so next week, full steam ahead, North Bend Clinic is coming and ready to
Nice
go. And
job.
huge
Thank
shout
you.
out to the city of North
Congratulations.
Bend. They've been fantastic partners and did a great turnaround on this, and we really appreciate all their support. So
It was a lot quicker than I thought you might do that.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
we had
And
some
GLY
good
is
partners.
also out to bid on it as well.
That's
So-
great. That speaks to the need that exists in that community.
Yes, and I did also present this morning at the Rotary. We are doing a road show, and I presented to Kiwanis, the Chamber, and then today Rotary. There is a ton of community excitement for that North Bend Clinic. So the hub is exciting, but the North Bend Clinic is something that the residents are really happy to have expressed their excitement about having it in their own hometown. And so it's a win-win all the way around. So Dr. Storm is busy recruiting physicians to fill that clinic, and I reminded him we only have room for 4, but he's doing a great job. We look forward to having a place for all of our providers to be. Also under foundational elements, a shout out to Steve Wright. He's doing a great job. He is helping me on those road shows and helping to be my AV tech and meet the community members and do some foundation outreach while he's there. A reminder for your calendars, May 2nd is our now annual champagne brunch. We hope all of you will join us. It's going to be at the Club on the Ridge again. Our cause this year, we will be raising money for equipment for our pediatric rehab program. And that is a program that has been growing, and the rehab team does a phenomenal job with it. It touches patients' lives in a way that is very, very special because they're children. The new hub will have a dedicated space to pediatric therapy, and apparently they have all these really cool things that we can't fit here at the hospital, like swings and balls and all kinds of things. So we're hoping to get some community support for that pediatric program, and we hope all of you will join us. Also under the foundation updates, a shout out to this. I thought this was really cool. The foundation has welcomed a new board member, and Miss Karen Denton will be joining our foundation board. So yeah, we're very excited
That's
that we're
great.
gonna be keeping Karen in the loop and participating with us. So thank you to her for that. Under marketing, our marketing team, as you know, we've got a huge marketing staff of 2, and these ladies, for just the small amount of human resource they have, they sure get a lot done. I wanted to comment that we had, I don't know how to, somehow they estimate this, but 4,000 people that we got to interact with at our community outreach events last year. And that encompassed 134 volunteer hours from our staff. And so that's a lot of volunteer hours beyond just the regular amount of work we put into planning these events, but a big impact as well as the community, as getting to engage with the community. So because of this, and as we're always trying to find out what is that creative benefit and that edge that we can provide that's a little bit different than you do in other organizations for employee benefits, So we added this year a volunteer time off benefit. So every single staff member gets 8 hours a year of paid volunteer time, and they get to choose the event that they want to participate in. We have a calendar of events that qualify. It could be the Salmon Days, it could be North Bend Days, it could be the 4th of July party here in Snoqualmie. Whatever it is, if they volunteer, they can use those paid time hours, volunteer, and now get paid for 8 of those hours for their time. So we're excited to offer that to our staff, and the sign-up sheets are getting full, so it's fantastic. Let's see, I mentioned that I'm doing the community tour. If you guys know of groups that you think would benefit from us doing a presentation on what's happening at the hospital, we are doing a foundation update. We are talking about the North Bend Clinic, and then spending the majority of our time diving into the hub and getting some excitement generated about the hub. So, and then sharing our annual report as well. So if there are community groups, please let myself or Steve Wright know, and we will get them into the schedule so we can be at your events and talk about all the great things that Snoqualmie is doing out in our community. Or you'll see this in the volumes, and I don't actually, Dr. Moore, I'm not gonna take away the thunder on this one, but will you talk about the rehab volume, and I'll skip all the volumes. The volumes are good; those are yours. You guys will have to patiently wait for these results. But mammography is coming. Thank you to Steve Bradshaw and everybody on the team that are making mammography happen. The CRS application has been submitted and the EPIC module is being built, and the architects for the project has been selected. So we are on track for opening that in June. That it seems like a small project because it's one piece of equipment, but it is a huge milestone for our hospital. We're very excited about it. We're also hiring for a mammotech. I don't think we've found the right person yet. So if any of you know of a mammotech, we are vigorously recruiting just the right person for that program. All right. We did a lot of work with the board today around our core values, and we are continuing to do that work internally as well. And a couple of things that are really important in here. One is we are going to a new evaluation system this year. And instead of calling it an evaluation, it will be, I'm going to forget the term for it, an assessment, a bold assessment, we're calling it. And we're going to be working with assessing our staff in their participation and values and how well their performance lines up with our core values. It's a great new tool to have a conversation with somebody and to make sure that they're aligned with the organization and our mission, vision, and values, as well as tracking performance just a little bit differently and not making it the same old boring employee evaluation process. So I'm very excited, and the work that Ron Bennett and Nicole Pass have done on this has been fantastic. And Julie Mincy sent the final draft out today. They've had a great work group that has taken all the feedback from our leadership team and what matters to them when they're trying to evaluate performance and how we can help people be the best versions of themselves. And they have included that into this evaluation process. So we'll see a new evaluation form this year. That's really exciting. I mentioned at our work session today, the BOLD Awards. You can see our core values are going everywhere. And so the BOLD Awards are happening. It'll be our annual employee recognition event. Jennifer Scott has been working feverishly to lead this work, and it will be a nice after hours event. We're going to host it in the hospital lobby because that's the only space we have right now that will accommodate it. Chef Blake is going to be doing the catering. So if there's no other reason to come to eat Chef Blake's food. But we also will be choosing and announcing an employee of the year, a provider of the year, and a leader of the year. And so these are the individuals that most exemplify our core values. So love to have the board and join us.
Thank you,
Let's
Renee.
see.
That's
Yeah, you're
really
welcome.
exciting.
Another celebration. I know you guys saw this in the email because thank you, Emma, for your congratulations to Danny Scott. But this is sort of old news, but it's just now hitting press for us. But Danny Scott is the president for Wishy this year. So he was representing us and Snoqualmie's name. And it's a great time for him to be doing that with this big construction project on the horizon. So we appreciate his leadership and flying the flag of our brand. And then lastly, a little update for you on the hub. So hub is coming along. There is, I think Jen has a rendering that I can share. I think it was in the CEU report if you read it, but we continue to refine the program and the shape of the building and the fit and finish, the materials that are being used, just trying to squeeze it down to fit into budget, looking at different colors on the outside and some different materials that you can see. And we had a great meeting with the city this morning, and they've had a change in their staff at the city, which has caused a little bit of a delay and a hiccup in our permitting process, but we are confident we can work through that. I think overall that change is going to be absolutely phenomenal for our teamwork and our ability to get this project across the line. We have a very, very important meeting next Thursday. We've had to extend our closing on the property yet again another couple of weeks because we were waiting for city's formal response on our application for our sewer and stormwater. And all that leads up into getting a permit for the groundwork to occur. And so there could potentially be some budget impacts due to water availability and sewer capacity. And so we're working behind the scenes right now with them to really fine tune exactly how much water capacity do we need, exactly how much sewer capacity do we need. So we'll know more about that next Thursday, which will inform our closing on the property because there could be some impacts to the purchase and sale agreement. So I won't have more until next Thursday, but we are working through all those things.
Is there going to be any penalties for having to extend this closing date?
That's a great question to ask, David. Thank you. No, there's not. We have passed our refundable deposit period, which to us wasn't a big deal because we know we're going to purchase the property anyway. And so at this point, it's really just holding the closing open in case we want to make an ask for a reduction in the price because of any pre-existing conditions that the city has determined. But there's a little bit of negotiation on releasing some of that earnest money or not releasing that earnest money that Patrick and I have just been working through that in about the last hour.
And I think
But
thus far,
no
any
penalties.
delays that we've had, Renee, have been to the benefit of the district.
So far, I mean, yeah, we're trying, we still are on target for an early May groundbreaking. That is, our team is working really, really hard to make that happen. But we can't break ground until the property's closed, and we can't close the property until we know a little bit more about permitting with the city.
And just one last question,
Yeah, please.
and the 17 million will include the site prep?
Yes, that is
The-
in the pre-construction, yes, and there may be some infrastructure impacts that were not anticipated in that 17 million, which is why Patrick is wanting that second issuance to be sooner, because if we're having to fund some of that infrastructure up earlier in the project, it'll reduce the amount of time we can float through the summer for the actual mobilization of the site. But we're also working on some other creative funding opportunities. We're looking at some grants and some other things that may potentially produce some additional offsets to some of those costs. So we'll keep you posted on those endeavors. We're digging through the couch cushions, as we call it right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the questions. Those are great. Are there any other questions about the hub? Specifically things you guys would like to know more about, or anything else that I did not cover?
Appreciate all your teams and yourself, all the work that's being done on a daily basis as the circumstances change, the ebb and flow of it all, that you continue to march forward on it. And it's certainly an exciting addition to what we offer the public. That's for darn sure. Thank you.
It is. It's to be super fair, the team they're tired. They're working really, really hard. There's a lot that goes into this, from not just the design perspective, but Dr. Moore is working on equipment and planning, and we've got Dr. Storm doing recruitment. Trish is new to our team and holding down the fort with the current operations, and there's a lot, but we're loving the work, and it's worth it. It'll have a great community benefit. And if there's no more questions, I would like to ask Trisha Ralston to join us, and maybe Jen can give her a little spotlight there for us. So Trish is our new Chief Nurse Executive, and you guys got to briefly get an introduction to her last board meeting, but now she's truly ingrained in the team. She feels like she's been here forever. She's got her feet wet. She knows which direction she's going. So we're officially introducing her tonight, and I am going to give her the honor and pleasure of telling her first patient story for you.
Thanks, Renee.
Welcome, Tricia.
Thank you so much. Excited to be here. I can say in my short time here, I am just in awe of this place. I love the culture, and it just feels so good to be part of the team. And I'm going to share this story with you all, which is just exceptional and speaks to the care we give. So this is a really interesting story. So January 9 a.m., a 33-year-old gentleman and his buddies are out backcountry skiing out at Snoqualmie Pass, Kendall Walk in the Commonwealth Basin, for those of you that may know the area. He was caught in an avalanche and swept 200 feet into a tree. Despite the impact, his three friends reached him, carried him 1,000 feet down the mountain to search and rescue. Then search and rescue proceeded to transport him 4 miles out of backcountry to an ambulance, and they brought him to our emergency room here at Snoqualmie. As he got here, they called a code trauma. The attending physician, nurses, and the team identified that he had a vascular injury in his leg. He dissected an artery, and he was at risk of losing his leg. There wasn't enough blood flow, and so they gave him immediate intervention medication to help preserve the blood flow, and transferred him to Harborview, where he got the surgery he needed, and his leg was saved due to the quick action of everybody involved. He had multiple surgeries at Harborview, and then his journey led him back to us, where he was admitted and received expert rehab care by our team and our nursing unit up on the med floor. They cared for him for over 2 weeks, getting his strength back, and he was discharged to home, walking independently and recovering. And so I think this case underscores the exceptional teamwork, the relationship between ED and our EMS partners and our rehab therapists. I think it was exceptional that EMS trusted us to come here and help provide his care in that emergency moment. And so it was just really, really great to see. And he will now continue to walk and hopefully ski again. And so just to call out some of the team members, Dr. Garland in the ER, Jennifer, Suzanne, the nurses, Tori, the nurse, Daniel, the tech, all under Abby's leadership. I don't want to underscore also Lisa and her therapy team and her leadership, along with Heather's leadership on the medical unit, and the first responders, which I really look forward to meeting them. I was on the phone with one of them today, and I'm looking forward to really strengthening those partnerships in the community. So with that said, a very cool story to share, and I look forward to meeting all of you, hopefully next week at the Bold Awards.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Trish.
Thank you.
Tricia, how are you going to top that one?
I tell you, it's a great story, isn't it?
It is. Was that an open femur?
It was not an open femur, but the artery was dissected, and so that was what was cutting off the blood flow.
Great job. Great job. And you had to move quickly and succinctly, and congratulations. Yeah.
Yep.
Welcome to Snoqualmie Valley Health.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Renee?
All right, I am done with my CEO report, so we'll move into the dashboard. So we have our January dashboard has our new key performance indicators that the board has set. So we'll just take a quick look through here. Foundational elements, opening North End Clinic by 2025. Well, as the time of the board meeting tonight, we could probably put that up a little bit higher since we got such great news with our permits being issued today. We're doing fantastic in our outpatient visits, so over 5,000 in the month of January. And I'm going to hold my tongue because there's more news or more exciting things that Dr. Moore and Patrick will share with you. Financial stewardship, we had a very good January. This is really, really important. There's a couple of things that are putting our financials into more of a, I don't say concerning, but fragile state. With the changes in the federal government level, the safety net assessment program, which is about $1.2 million in our budget, has not been approved. And so we potentially have that $1.2 million in our budget that we'll need to figure out how to come up with that gap if that program is not funded. It's still early, still too early to tell what's going to happen with that. But there are a lot of hospitals that are dependent on this money, and many that are in much worse shape than ours. And so I think you'll see a lot of support from the legislators on this topic to get that program coming through. But we'll need to have some early performance this year to be able to offset any of those potential later in the year impacts that we might see. health system of choice. So this is a new way for us to look at this. So we want to exceed 85% or more. And you can see we were at 92.5. And this is overall patient satisfaction for our entire district with all the departments wrapped up together. So doing well there. And then on our team, since the last time we met with the commissioners, we took another deep dive into this data, and I have some questions about the data that we're presenting and how the format that we chose to present it in. So I need to go back in and dig into that, and we may have to come back to you with a proposal for a different metric to track here. We originally were proposing the first year turnover rate, but we had been calculating it on a 12-month rolling. And I'm just not so sure that that is the best way for you to assess how are we doing with retention of staff and our first year turnover and our failed hires. And so we did not report this because I wasn't comfortable with the data. So we'll come back to you with some more information about this next month. So we're doing well here so far. I'm good. Any questions? Okay. Great. That's what I have for you, Kevin, and happy to turn it over to the Finance Committee.
Very good. Thank you very much. No further questions from the board with regards to the dashboard. Not hearing any, so I'll move forward with the Finance Committee. And Patrick, would you go ahead and take it off with the finance report?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
And congratulations on your month again.
Thank you very much. Yeah, taking a look at the income statement here. As Kevin just said, we had a very healthy financial month of January, kicking off the year. You can see we had about almost 11 million in gross patient revenues in just the month of January. We had, I won't steal Tammy's volumes either because I did it at Finance Committee and then she didn't have anything to present. So I will let her go ahead and do that. But good, strong financials. You can see our inpatient volume was over budget. Our outpatient revenue was well over budget. ED well over budget. That all leads to a healthy bottom line when you see that compared to budget there. Our deductions from revenue, uncompensated care, you can see we had lower than usual financial aid applications in January. I think it's just, it'll probably catch up some later in the month, but just January, not a lot of applications there. And then our contractual adjustments were actually pretty good for January as well. Again, so our deduction was smaller than what we had anticipated based on our budgeted levels. That all leads to a net patient revenue of about $5.7 million. You add in a little bit of grant revenue there, and we're still just over that $5.7 million mark. So any question on the revenue side? All right, hearing none, we'll go to expenses. You can see expenses were basically break even when you take a look at the bottom line there. Whoops, you got to go back, Jennifer. Thank you. I was still on the same page. The looking there, some of the expenses, our depreciation was a little bit less than what we thought it would be, and that's simply just because we break that out over the year on our asset acquisition, and we just haven't, of course, acquired all of those assets yet this year. So your monthly depreciation is going to be a little bit lower until we actually acquire those assets and depreciate those. So the budget you can see is about 500 and some odd thousand when you spread that out over 12 months. Still 4.8 million in operating expenses with a $5.7 million in operating revenues gives you a nice operating net income of $900,000. Our below the line items with our interest expense, etc., basically break even to what we are looking, gives us a final net income of $895,000 for January. So a very successful month on the income statement there. Any questions? Great.
Patrick, I'm
Yeah.
wondering if you want to share any comments relative to forecasting going forward. As I've said, that we try to anticipate, we project very conservatively and plan for the higher expenses so that we have a positive outcome. One of the things that we're shooting for as we roll through this Q1 and 2 and we enter into Q3 is the impact that we're going to have later on in the summer on some of the anticipated expenses that we have coming up. Do you want to speak to that just a little bit?
Sure. As far as projections, I am got my fingers crossed that we can have $11 million months every month, and that we go forward with that. February is looking good, and we hope that trend will continue into March. So maintaining that first quarter strength is going to be very beneficial for us on multiple bases, right? It's going to enable us to meet our current obligations as well as what we have upcoming, because in the summer our spend's going to increase, for those site control costs of between $4 and $5 million per month through the summer that we're doing that. So it's a lot of expenses we're bringing on, but we do have those LTGO funds like I mentioned before, and in addition, if we go forward onto the balance sheet, Jennifer. We had a good cash month too. So we lowered our AR days. You can see our total cash is about $40 million, $40.5 million just through the month of January. So we had a $1.3 million cash influx in just January, and that's from operations. So we're seeing some better results from our TrueBridge partner. And it's not exactly where we want it to be, but it is moving in a positive direction. That we need to continue to build that cash, that $1.3 million, because we need to keep a nice unrestricted cash balance on the books as we go out to market, because that shows us in a strong, favorable financial position, and shows us that we don't need any of those funds that we're going after for the construction project to be used for any operations of what we currently have, that we're still generating revenue, able to generate cash, even be better than where we were, and still be able to finance a $110 million construction project. So we are on that path. It's super good news. But it's 1 month. So that's why I'm not super excited. So it is, like I said, it is a good thing. And this is 4 straight months as well. So it's a good trend, upward trend in where we are with revenues.
Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah. So again, current assets, slight decrease due to that allowables. And then, of course, our receivables went down, which is what you want to see because you're increasing cash there. And then our long-term assets, pretty steady, except for you'll see that number there on the actual to date of the construction in progress. That's the field where we keep tabulation of all the dollars that are spent on our various construction and projects. And that includes North Bend, the land work that we're doing, as well as any epic projects like the HVPB project that we have going, and mammogram and MRI. All of those are lumped into that line there until they are actually put into service. So our total assets increased for the month by about $1 million. Any question on assets? Great. And then liabilities, right around that $108 million. Most of it is current liabilities that we have there and related to our subscription services and the current portion of our long-term debt, of course, our LTGO debt increased with our LTGO issuance in December there. But you can see that's the same number, 58 million. That's holding steady. until we get the new revenue bonds. The good news is that our net position at the beginning of the year was negative 7.8 million. Now it's a negative 7.2. So due to that nice profit in January, so that number is continuing to head into the right direction. Any questions? Great. Let's go to the cash flow statement. Again, I mentioned it earlier, about $1.3 million in total cash. Most of it is from operations. If you scroll down just a little bit, Jen, you can see we generated about 2.1 million in cash from operating activities in January. So great job there. Then we paid out about 500,000 in construction, and then our property tax receivable, that gets divided over 12 months. So we decreased that each month by about that $350,000. And then we had a nice healthy income interest of $114,000 there. So a negative outflow on investing. Financing are, again, a little bit negative there, but that's all our investments that we're making on the financing side with our long-term bonds. And you can see our net change in cash was 1,347,000. So a good cash month. Any questions? Great. And so we can talk, we have these graphs here. I've kind of talked about most of it, but you can see it on pictures if you have any questions. And then I will go ahead and let Tammy talk about the volumes if you don't have any questions on on the dashboards.
Finally, not stealing my thunder, commissioners. You see what we have to deal with here. So yes, actually, the credit all goes to our leaders. So it was a rockin' month in January. It is a trend that, as you heard CFO Ritter say, we want to continue. But as you look at this, I'll remind you if you had children of Harold and the Purple Crown, because what you see is a hovering purple dot over all of this page of graphs. So we had in each of the operating reports, nearly every one of them, the managers or directors sent a report back to me stating record breaking, right? Record, you know, in a lot of different areas. So we'll go through those. But as you look at the ED and move over into clinics, and let me pause and say, I won't be talking about every graph, but that doesn't mean you can't ask me questions. You can ask me any questions that you would like. So as we look at ED and into clinics on that top line, again, beating budget and beating actual 2024. So doing very, very well. Clinics in particular has had many record-breaking months. They've done very well with the same number of providers. We haven't yet added Dr. Storm's contingent of providers who are arriving later this year, but we look forward to those numbers continuing to climb. So really good news there.
Hey, Dr. Moore,
yes.
While you're talking about providers, I wanted to invite Dr. Storm to share some news on the provider front, that maybe we have some new providers joining us.
Good plan.
Yeah, thank you. We did have, just to summarize, in end of 2024, Dr. Jordan Wallace, pediatrician, joined. Slava Glidgen, GI physician assistant, joined to help drive up endoscopy volume, and Kat Sten in urgent care to help fill another full-time position. So I'll let Tammy expand on how that has affected maybe volumes, but we have signed a second full-time physician hospitalist to join Dr. Shah and Dr. Ramaswamy. By doing so, we should be able to increase our inpatient acuity volumes, taking more acute admissions or people who present to the ED. We did recruit successfully and sign Jocelyn Cooper, an allergist immunologist who's going to be able to assist with both pediatrics and adult allergy medicine consultations, which is a huge need. And those people tend to be very hard to get into, 6 to 9 month waits. They drive a lot of revenue. Dr. Cooper starting in October of this year, and a rheumatologist, Dr. Brianna Mantia, successfully recruited and signed, starting with us in October. And those two specialties in particular are we think are key, as rheumatology is a big need. That's joint medicine, not surgery, but that clinic filling up can build a panel that can support orthopedics as orthopedics comes online. Just like allergy, that panel gets built, can help support ear, nose, and throat surgery when that service comes online. So very strategic with hiring, and we feel not only a needed service in the community, but will help kind of build out our infrastructure to grow into the hub in surgery. So happy to answer any questions, but just great work by everybody in the team and helping support. So thank you.
Congratulations, Dr. Storm.
Yeah, congratulations. I just have one quick question. Where are you putting all these folks? We've got kind of a small
October
right now, don't we?
Well, it's going to be cozy. They will have desks and chairs, not sharing laps. So we feel good about that. And I don't know if we have a lot more chairs in the budget, but we'll make it work, and we have space for probably 6 to 7 providers pre-hub. So
With a North Bend edition.
North Bend, well, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dr. Storm makes manager Will Pand cringe a little bit sometimes, but with excitement at the new providers are coming. It's all about the magic of the timing. But any questions for Dr. Storm?
Thank you.
I would also say they're fun people too, not just doctors that need that failed the specialty as well. They're great people.
Yeah.
That's a prerequisite here, but not a week goes by that we don't have. And please understand too that the leaders who are on this call, who are listening in tonight in East and West or virtually, they're involved. So we have staff at all levels who are involved at these interviews. They're dropping everything. They're attending to that in addition to their daily business. And they are contributing to these selections. And that's just a huge deal. You really need that. And so we all just get excited when Dr. Storm says he's got another one. So, all right, without any further questions, I'll drop down into endo. You see that in the bottom middle of the graph. In endo, I'll draw your attention to only because we've been talking a little bit about the Medivator. I think I shared last month that we did purchase a new Medivator. It is ready to be installed. I've been driving Director Scott, Danny Scott, crazy, asking him the questions and when planning's going to happen and when can we get it up and when is it ready? But that is to continue to watch those endo volumes continue to grow and be over not only budget, but last year as well. You heard about Slava just a minute ago. He is a provider who is seeing GI patients in clinic and helping drive that volume with Dr. Chen. So we are looking forward to a continued stability, but also growth in endo. So very excited about that. Before you switch pages, I do want to talk a little bit about lab. It's always fun when Kelly Miller gets to share her information with me and her wins in particular. Kelly just did a great job again. She noted that medical unit volumes were 77% higher. And what that does is just, again, make her volumes go up, which is a really exciting thing, but no negative comments last month. And I always try to bring this forward for your attention because remember, not only as volumes go up, it gets busier. And so employees are moving faster, working harder, but patients are continuing to be happy. So just really good news at a lab. We appreciate Kelly and all of her work. Unfortunately, Robert Agrisano, I don't think is on the call tonight. I wanted to share a win out of lab with him. Kelly reported they went live with rapid screening for what is urine fentanyl. And that may sound like an odd thing to be excited about, but it is important for our EMS partners. And
Dr. Moore, I think Robert is on the call tonight.
Oh, you are? Okay. Well, Robert, this was particularly for you. I thought you might enjoy the fact that that we have gained the ability to do that. So I don't know, Robert, if you have any questions on that before I move on. Not have. volume, but okay, we'll hold them for later, but let me know if you do on that. All right, let's hop to the next page. Thank you, Jen. Perfect. So a lot of hovering purple dots again. I'll touch briefly on therapy. Manager Childress, Lisa Childress, is just doing a fantastic job, continuing to do a fantastic job, and announced that we hit a record in outpatient with 553 visits. Large part, again, referrals. This is a theme. We continue to see primary care investing and keeping our patients here for PT services, OT services, and so forth. And that's important, right? It means that we can get patients in, access to care is good, the communication between providers is good, and we'll hopefully continue to see that climb. So really good stuff there. Lisa also reported, we always celebrate this anytime, while we love our agency staff, they work hard for us while they're here. We also celebrate when we can find perm staff, and sometimes we convert them from agency. But Lisa reported 2 OTs as perm hires in January. So very good news there, to see more occupational therapists. And so we'll bid a fond goodbye to the travelers who worked for us, but we'll be glad to have permanent staff. All right. I will hop down to really the drum roll belongs to Steve Bradshaw, Manager Bradshaw of Diagnostic Imaging or Imaging Department. He blew every single record out of the water. So all of the areas, ultrasound and CT, MRI and X-ray were all above budget, above last year, and records. So very cool stuff, really exciting. We don't often get excited about just plain old X-ray visits, but we're excited about plain old X-ray visits because this is good work. And again, no increase in staff. So they're just increasing how fast they roll. So really well done to the teams, proud of them. Any questions for me on volumes?
Dr. Moore, I'll give a primer for the board for next month. Nicole has been doing a lot of different social media and outreach and marketing, her and Anna. And so they are going to be coming to the board and telling you a little bit about what they have been doing and how some of that work might potentially be impacting these volumes that you're seeing. And I think you'll be really proud of them. And so we did, Patrick noticed that we'd had a high peak in our ED volumes, and then we had kind of a lull. And he said, hey, ask Nicole if they're doing something different. And we found out that some of our ads have been put into Facebook jail because there's a lot of rules and regulations about what you can and can't put in those ads. And so we were able to work diligently to get those reformatted and back up. And so we'll hopefully be seeing some of that recovery in that volume for Abby and her team this month. So more to come.
Great addition. Can I answer any questions?
Congratulations to everyone. Great work.
Thank you. Congratulations to the team. They're working hard.
All right, Patrick, anything else for the financials? Are you ready for warrants?
No, lots of good news. Ready for warrants.
Let's move forward, Jen. Hey, with that, I'll go ahead and ask for approval of the warrants for the month of January 2025 in the dollar amount of $5,986,715. Do I have an approval?
I make that motion. Was it a 2 or 3 payroll month? It was a 2, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, David. Do I have a second?
I second.
And that was
Carter.
Commissioner Carter?
Yep.
Great. Thank you very much. Motion been made and seconded to approve the warrants for January 2025 in the dollar amount again of $5,986,715. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Mr. Chairman, you might note that Commissioner Norris is not present, not able to vote.
Thank you very much for that.
Yes, thank you, Skip. We also, just for everyone's knowledge, Jen does record that in the minutes off and on, and so she does know for which subjects commissioners are and aren't present for. So
great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Skip. So I have motion's been made and seconded, and the ayes were, please state again for the record. Aye.
Aye.
Well, 4-0, I believe.
I believe that's right. Commissioner Herron was an aye as well. Let the record show that Commissioner Norris is not in attendance. The motion carries. Thank you very much, everybody. Congratulations once again for a fantastic month. Tricia, it's great to have you on board, and I look forward to more great stories. With that, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to commissioner comment, and I'd like to start with Commissioner Herron.
I'm not seeing her at the moment.
Oh, we'll take a break for just a moment for her and go to Commissioner Carter.
Wow, what a month. Huge congratulations to everyone. Very, very excited for the North Bend Clinic. I think that is going to be fantastic. Thank you to the executive team and to everyone at the organization for your ongoing commitment to DEI. Tricia, welcome. Boy, you come in like a lion, huh? I love that story. I hope nobody gets injured on the mountain again, but if they do, I hope that you're there to receive them, care for them, and then tell their story. Thanks, folks. Let's have another awesome month for February.
Thank you, Commissioner Carter. Mr. Spikers.
Oh, thank you. Congratulations to all the hard work. I sometimes analogize what we do to my own legal practice. You get a case and you work it up, and it's like 2 years, hundreds of hours, and the net result. I mean, that's what you always, that's the only thing we hear is the net result. We don't know about those 200 hours to get to that net result. And thank you for, and I'm sure that does happen. It's 200 hours worth of work to get to some of these results. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Spikers. I am just been notified that Emma's having some IT issues. Give me one moment. Okay. I would echo all the comments that have been made. My goodness, it's absolutely fantastic. And hold on one moment. I'm going to do this a little bit unusual. Emma, this is Kevin.
Kevin?
Yeah, you're okay. I have you on speaker and I have the whole group in front of you, and I'm calling. Oh, hold. If I may, I'm doing commissioner comments right now. Would you care to make any comments? I have you live.
She probably has the computer on and the phone is interfering with the.
Yes, the whole group can hear you. You're live. Okay. I'm sorry for the IT issue there. I'll circle back with you after the meeting. Okay. You are very welcome. Bye-bye. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for your indulgence on that. Again, great comments made. What a fantastic month coming off of a tremendous year of 2024 for the organization. And it's great to see the new faces and the contributions that will be made by all of those people joining our team. And I heard a word earlier that was stated about the great culture. And that is palpable as you walk into that building, I think. As you walk through the different departments, it's absolutely, really just heartwarming for me. And with that being said, thanks again, everybody, for your time and your efforts. And I look forward to seeing everybody again next month. Have a safe and nice, beautiful weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thank you, Jennifer.